Welcome back to the archive. If you haven't seen the first episode, aka May 2008, go check it out now for an intro to this series. Anyway, the first video has me talking about USB flash drives.
And the USB is something you can carry around, take with you anywhere, you know, that sort of thing. So what I have here is a 1 gigabyte USB.
Wow, only 1 gig? You can't even buy 1 gig USBs from most stores anymore in 2019, as the minimum size now is generally 8 gig, and even that's not enough for most people's needs. Anyway, let's see the price of a bigger USB.
128 gigabyte USB. List price, $1,000.
What? Over $1,000 for a 128 gig USB. I could pick up one from Officeworks in Australia today for just $25.
As you can see, Massive Archive is 46.9 gigabytes. So if I had a 64 gig USB, I could technically store this whole Massive Archive on the USB. 256 gig USB. Okay, transfers rate up to 20 megs per second, so that's the first 256 gigabyte USB.
Gee, a 256 gig USB in 2009 is actually pretty impressive, but based on those transfer speeds listed in the article, you can see that it was USB 2.0 based, so transferring data to and from the flash drive would be extremely slow, and the price back then would be well over $1,000, unlike now where you can pick one up for less than 90 bucks. Anyway, enough USB talk for today. Let's move on to the next video where Grandpa comes to visit us for the usual Sunday lunch.
Because you need a bit of juice. Alright then. Okay. Look at you. Noisy.
Noisy? I'd say Jasmine was actually pretty quiet at the moment, but anyway, shortly after we start eating, my grandpa somehow gets a piece of onion stuck on his face.
No silly faces. Dad, you got a bit of onion on the side of your face there. Yep.
It's funny how he's so fast and desperate to get it off, like it's a spider on his face or something, but anyway, it's time to find out how my whooping cough vaccination went.
Philip's terrible with needles.
Yeah.
He needed to be held down and he screamed louder than her and everybody looked scared. There were people outside and you heard her scream twice because she had one in. Then you heard Philip's yell out at the top of his. It was funny because when we walked out of the room, there were people in the waiting room outside.
When we walked out, there wasn't any people.
Oh God!
Well, that's certainly a way to clear out the waiting room. Anyway, some of you are probably wondering how Nana's going, as you haven't seen a video of her in the archive since July, as she's been too sick to come over. Unfortunately, she's extremely unwell, and although she's still alive at this point, you won't be seeing her again in the archive. Here's an update.
I just registered the truck.
Oh, you're keeping the truck, Barry. Phil won't be driving the Falcon around, so you can have the Falcon now. You can take control of it.
No, but he's trying to encourage her to.
I want her to bloody encourage her to do something.
Because her eyes, she can see now.
She can see. I don't know whether she's got enough.
I've got some magazines actually to give you that some lady gave me. They're Current Woman's Weekly and New Idea and stuff. She might just like to have a flip through them now that she can see.
She's not reading them. She's not reading. See, she's just given up. Given up everything. It's dreadful.
I think if she has that operation and then she can walk again without pain.
She's not interested. She's given up.
She needs a good talking to.
She does. But it's useless, me.
So basically what are you got to do? You've got to get her to see the doctor to get a referral. Is that right?
Well, she's due this month to go and get all the blood tested again, because to make sure those tablets are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Have you been testing the blood?
I have.
And what has it been?
Well, when she was doing the right thing, it was, she might be a little high a couple of days, but
not 20.
8.5. Last 2 days it's been 17.
Why?
Because she bloody well won't even take the tablets. She just won't get out of bed. I might as well talk to that bloody cabinet. The more I talk to her, the more she just digs her heels in.
But she's got to go in for this checkup with the doctor.
But if she gets herself that run down, she won't be able to have the bloody operation. At her age, I mean, operations can be quite serious.
But the point is,
especially on a full anaesthetic.
A lot of women are that age and older and have had that operation.
Full anaesthetics, people die because they just conk out. It's no good.
Seriously?
Oh, it's dreadful.
Is an anaesthetic that dangerous?
Oh, shit, yeah. It really is.
I thought anaesthetic was safe.
It's safe for healthy people.
Okay.
You know?
Nana did go on a nice road trip with Grandpa a week earlier and had a really nice time there as there was barely any walking involved, so at least there was some nice moments in her life at this point. This road trip would have reminded her of the great time she used to have road tripping with Grandpa and my mum as a kid back in the 1980s. Anyway, in the next video we look at Jasmine, who is now slightly over 10 weeks old.
What's she been doing on you?
Sleeping.
Has she done anything else while she was sleeping?
Yeah, she wrote 2 novels and invented a prototype teleportation device while sleeping in my mum's arms. I mean, what was I expecting her to do while sleeping? Anyway, let's move on.
Okay, today I've done a few things with Photoshop. As you can see, I've converted a black and white image of my grandpa, which you can see in a few archive videos. My grandpa, he's got white hair and stuff because he's quite old. Is the original black and white image, because back in those days everything was black and white. I converted it to colour, like this. He's got the skin colour, he's got the brownish coloured hair.
I'm actually pretty impressed with my work here, apart from the shirt and eyes, which seem a little too blue, but other than that, I think I did a pretty good job.
Kevin Rudd is the current Prime Minister of Australia. So I made this, it says Jasmine Adams and Kevin Rudd, new leadership. So and Jasmine's on Kevin Rudd's shoulder.
Yeah, it's pretty funny to see Jasmine sitting on the shoulder of the Prime Minister of Australia at the time and even holding his finger as she leans against his head. Anyway, in the next video I attempt to scare my dad with a ghost car jump scare video.
Do you like that car?
Can't even see, it's too far away. What does it say now? Go and change your shorts. What was it saying?
No, it's scared because it's saying you might have pissed your pants or something. It's supposed to scare you, that's the whole point of it.
No, I wasn't that scared.
My dad has never reacted with jump scares, which explains why he didn't understand the joke about changing your pants after the jump scare. But anyway, the next video is just Mum placing Jasmine with various toys on my bed and taking photos of her until she eventually gets bored and cries. So let's move on to when my dad and I take Jasmine for a walk.
Hello, Jasmine. We are going to go for a walk.
Oh, don't you just hate that silly voice people do when they speak to babies?
A walk? Come on. Walk, walk, walk.
I can't stand that voice anymore, and it looks like Jasmine doesn't like it either.
Going for a walk. Alright, we're going for a little walk.
The crying continues all the way through the parking garage, and just when we're about to finally go out in the sun, this happened.
It's going to absolutely pour. I have to go back inside. Pause it, I have to bring all the washing in.
Yeah, so because of the rain, we had to put everything down and set it up all over again.
Dad has got to take the washing down because it looks like outside that it's going to rain. Do you understand everything I'm saying, Jasmine?
Yeah, she seemed quiet and attentive, but this didn't last long.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording now.
Okay, Dad's back. Dad's back, see?
Alright, that'll be now. Don't film this because I've forgotten how I did this. Let's go. There she is.
Jasmine's basically fallen asleep.
If Jasmine's just gonna sleep through the walk, then there's not actually much point of her coming on the walk.
And this is the little Jasmine in the jasmine. Next to a jasmine tree, look. That's a bus.
Is that the 139? Yeah, that's the bus I catch. See?
Now, see your list, Jasmine? All of this. All of this. All of it will be yours. One day in the future.
In case you didn't realise, Jasmine won't really own all of Queenscliff. My dad was just doing a Lion King reference here, which is kind of a coincidence now that the 2019 Lion King movie is currently in cinemas.
Child, you will inherit everything you see, everything you touch, everything you smell. The world will be yours.
Yeah, this is going a little overboard now, and the visuals are just as stupid. And to top it all off, Jasmine ended up just falling asleep. So my dad decides to turn this into a David Attenborough documentary.
Here we're witnessing a child, an amazing child from planet Earth, now discovering for the first time what a beach looks like. Soft, beautiful, light brown sand and waves. Oh, he's not impressed. He's off. He is not impressed at all. He's walking off into the distance. There he goes. He's gone. She's my bub. I own this little bub.
And what else do you own?
That little Phil.
But not this.
Phil, give it back. Come on, Phil, I'm getting burnt. I'm going to end up with cancer within 2 seconds. Give it to me, Phil.
Yeah, Australia is known for its extremely harsh sun causing the highest rate of skin cancer out of any country in the entire world, but 2 seconds to get sunburnt is an exaggeration. The fastest time I've ever been sunburnt is in 9 minutes, and that was in the middle of the day during summer.
The wind will blow it into those trees and some monster will eat it.
While my dad's busy making the sounds of a monster eating his hat, I decided to rip it off him. My dad tells me to never do it again, but he doesn't say anything about the wind.
Never do that again, please.
No, I want to...
Jeez, get the damn hat.
After this, my dad holds his hat the whole way home, but somehow it still manages to fall off. Anyway, we'll skip the next video, which is just me talking about Jasmine while she sits on my lap, and instead move on to when Mum and I took Jasmine for a walk in a stroller, as my mum delivered junk mail to various letterboxes, but before that, she's first got to have lunch.
You get your lunch now.
No, it's lunch today. Your favourite. Milk. Yeah, your favourite, darling.
From a technical perspective, since she's only ever had milk in her life up until this point, that makes it both her favourite and least favourite lunch at the same time. Anyway, at this point, Mum and I finally get going, but as we get to the car parked in the dark garage, things get a little hard to see, so I activate night vision, or as I like to call it,
Oh no, she just vomited.
Oh, is she going to be vomiting all this time?
It's alright.
Demonized, Mum.
yeah, Jasmine's punishment for vomiting is Mum becoming a demon and giving her the literal evil eyes.
I'm gonna wear her. It's alright, where's the dog?
It's alright, and you've got these demon eyes looking at her.
Jasmine, stop looking at me like that.
Jasmine's demon eyes didn't look anywhere near as creepy as my mum's did, but anyway, at this point, we drove off.
Hey Delvic, come over here. Come and have a look at her. She's just here. There she is. She had a bit of a vomit, so I've tucked that up like that. But have a little.
I don't know.
Delvic was basically the driver that delivered pamphlets off at our apartment in box so that we could fold and deliver them.
There we go. We're going to take her delivering. Philip's going to wheel her in the stroller. Anyway, there she is. You sure you don't want to have one little hold?
Oh, I'm not so good with babies. If you hold the head like that, then...
Oh, well, she's not a newborn anymore, so it's okay.
Okay.
The head's...
Oh, beautiful.
At this point, it looks like he's about to hold up Jasmine like Simba is held up in The Lion King, but he just gives it back to Mum and we start delivering.
See, this is a stroller. You're actually so small that you can fit in a stroller.
Oh, not that dumb voice again. And of course, you are so small you can fit in a stroller. Strollers are literally made for babies.
Well, that's an old car, isn't it?
See, Jasmine, this is what cars looked like back in 2009.
Oh, not that voice again.
There is a cat, Jessie. See? You want to go and pet her? See the cat, Jasmine? You're looking at that cat, aren't you?
This was the first time Jasmine and I ever met this cat, and towards the end of 2013, 4-year-old Jasmine loved patting both this grey cat, which my dad named Fat Fluff, and the black cat my dad named Bob. But anyway, back to 2009 now.
See? Wheeling yourself.
The rest of this video is pretty boring, but you do see Diana delivering pamphlets to the apartment we end up moving to less than a year later, although at this point we had no idea about it.
Oh, there's a new KFC brochure.
Jasmine's funny shocked reaction has nothing to do with the new KFC brochure, unfortunately. It's just her eyes adjusting to the shifting brightness and darkness as my hands move around. But anyway, time to move on to the next video.
Okay, right now I'm on my Mac because my computer is just not working at all. See that computer there? not working.
Basically, I was recording with my Mac here, as the previous day my computer was upgraded with an extra 2 gigs of RAM, bringing it to a total of 4 gigs, and I also got a new internet dongle, but a day later, my computer just wouldn't boot properly.
Later on, the internet disconnected, so I clicked turn off, wait. I waited for 20 minutes, then after the 20 minutes, it went to the blue screen of death, then it restarted, then it went on to the login screen, so I logged in, and then black screen with the mouse, nothing. The good thing is, I backed up the archive onto this. The archive's currently 50 gigs, so it fits.
Yeah, it was pretty lucky we got that 320 gig portable hard drive the previous day, in case the whole archive was lost, but 2 days later, we found a solution.
We ended up buying Windows 7 Home Premium, so as you know, in the archive I used to talk a lot about this. Ever since last year around May, I've been talking about Windows 7. We've got that currently installed on the system. As you can see, this is a full Windows 7 version, Service Pack 0. Not Service Pack 1 or 2, so the old Windows 7. I'm saying old, but there's no newer one yet. So you can see the taskbar looks like that. I've currently got Firefox and these things open like this. It's definitely Windows 7 now. You can notice an extra feature in Windows 7. When it says installed RAM, it's saying 4 gigabytes is what's installed, but only 3 gigabytes are usable on this computer. So it's not using the full 4 gig that we bought, it's only using 3 gig due to it being a 32-bit operating system. Now we've got a problem. The computer did the same thing that Vista did. Basically, it's quite scary now, because if it's doing the same thing, we don't know if it's going to boot after I turn this computer off. McAfee thinks it's definitely a hard drive problem, since to install Windows 7 we formatted the whole computer, ridded Vista completely and got Windows 7. We lost all files, yet the problem seemed to start occurring again.
Honestly, looking back at the problem now, I'd say it was a driver issue with that new internet dongle, as the internet would disconnect, I'd try to turn my computer off, and then I'd get the blue screen of death. But anyway, 2 days later the computer seemed a lot more stable, so I had to play around with Windows 7.
You can see how I can change between things like this. I can flick through all these things like that and see what I want, and it's all live updated. For instance, if I put my face in front of the camera here, so you can see my face there. Sorry, that looked weird, but anyway, you can see updates, you can fling through it like that, and I'm putting the archive onto the computer.
Wow, it feels pretty weird not that the archive was less than 50 gigs back then, but anyway, the next video just has me playing around with a Japanese physics simulation program called OE-Cake, which had a pretty cool feature allowing you to take photos from the internet and insert them into the physics sandbox, although my computer really struggled with this, so let's move on to the next video.
What have you got there? What's that thing?
I found it.
It's my sister.
Yes, that looks like a bit of a bub. Is that a bub? Oh, what do you do? You don't just jam it right into the top speed straight away.
Mum
you don't
does.
do that.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you
You
do.
put it around about the middle one. You don't have to have it just going to fall out of the thing.
Basically, this thing is an automatic baby rocker, and after rocking it for a while, it's time for Jasmine to have her milk.
And I'm actually going to eat the little baby, and once this is finished, I'll be eating the young bub.
Just give it to me now.
Dad. He's not gonna do that, don't worry.
Bench. 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 I'm actually getting angry.
Are you? I'm glad you announced that. I'm glad you get angry. Here she comes.
Look at me here.
Here she comes. There she is.
Now pass me the milk.
It's
Oh,
not
no,
milk.
she's looking at it.
But I want to have the milk.
Give it to me.
But I want it.
You can probably tell by the way my dad pretends to eat Jasmine and her milk that he's pretty much the less serious parent. Anyway, time to move on.
Okay, today I want to talk to you about portable hard drives. We bought this. It's a 320 gig hard drive, although it's actually 300 gig. They sort of lie to you all the time. You never get what you really paid for. Anyway, we're going to check on the internet now some portable hard drives of today, the size and the cost of average ones of today. Obviously for you, it'll probably be about 50 billion times greater than what I have here, but it really depends when you're watching the video.
Yeah, 50 billion times better than a 320 gig hard drive would be 16 trillion gigabytes, or to simplify, 16 zettabytes. So obviously here I was talking to viewers at least 100 years in the future, not just 10 years.
500 gig and it's $69, although I'm pretty sure that's American dollars. And this is my sister Jasmine, by the way. She's not a portable hard drive though, she's just a sleeping baby. Anyway,
I didn't really have much luck finding prices for portable hard drives, and since the next video is just me showing off emulators on my iPod Touch again, I think we'll just end this video off here, and I'll see you guys in the next episode featuring November 2009, the month where Jasmine laughs for the first time and her cot is set up in my room. I'll see you then.